What's up, guys? Back again with another Logic Pro tutorial, and finally we're going to be going over how to mix rap vocals, and this will be the verse of the song. And this might be a pretty long tutorial, so I might make it maybe two parts, maybe possibly three. So in this video specifically, I'm just going to be going over the effects that I use in this channel strip, and in the next one I'll probably go over the bussing and my outputs and all the effects and that sort of thing. So I'm going to play a sample of it first so you can hear what we're going for.
Inside. Do you need someone to talk to? Bitch, get a shrink complicated for a reason. Use your brain to fuck do you think we could go for a drive? I got a rubber to spare and fuck on the way there, but the fuck on my hair. Take you shopping, spending my money, bitch, better save it. Even God had Eve walking around naked. Get on your knees or both hands around my dick like you're praying. For heaven's sake, say my name and vainly your ass forsaken. I do it like Bill Clinton, bring these hoes to my residence, cause they know they ain't the first lady to ride with the president. I'm a player, but it's the game that make me work. Fasten my seatbelt, grab a condom, cause safety first. When the bitches to control it, put the rest on mute. And my presents still get her in their birthday suit. My dick's hitless, beat the pussy up with a chosen few. Shit, bitch, you lucky, saw the day that 3 noticed you on the real. Calling me names.
Okay, and the artist in this song his name is 360. I'll leave his link in the description. Go follow him, and yeah. So let's get into this. So I'm gonna mute everything and mute my outputs, and let's get started. So here's the dry vocal.
Do you need someone to talk to? Bitch, get a shrink complicated for a reason. Use your brain to fuck do you think?
So I'm just gonna try to go in and explain what I'm doing in every effect. So this was recorded in a bedroom, so there might have been some background noise. I'm not sure if there's that much, but anyways, I added an NS1 plugin. You go on to Audio Units, Waves, NS1 should be down here. Boom, right there. And you don't drag this up too far. Otherwise it'll sound like shit. So I usually don't go more than 15 down here, and takes out enough background noise and it sounds good. And secondly, I add in an EQ, and in this EQ, it's just a high pass filter, and I cut it at about 100 hertz, and that's it. And then my second EQ, I'm just taking out some resonance around 400 hertz. So what I like to do is I do a swipe. I take a band and drag it all the way up, and then I listen for bad frequencies by moving it left and right. And then when you hear a bad frequency that sounds not too
Need
good,
someone to talk to, bitch, get a shrink complicated for a reason. Use your brain to fuck do you think we could go for a drive? I got a rubber to spare.
so when you hear a bad frequency, basically you take this and you just drag it straight down and you remove it. So that's subtractive EQ, which helps a lot. And I go over more EQ in my outputs, but I will be explaining that in the next video, or unless there's enough time in this video, we'll see. And next, I added my de-esser, and this is a fab filter de-esser, but you don't need a fab filter. You can just go to Dynamics de-esser right there and use the default one, and then maybe pick a preset if you want. And those work pretty well too. I just like Fab Filter's version of it, and it works for me. And I actually just go down to single voice female split band and use that preset. If you do have the plugin, go ahead and use that preset because I like it a lot.
Complicated for a reason. Use your brain to fuck do you think we could go for a drive? I got a rubber to spare and fuck.
And I don't. The range is basically how much it'll bring down the S's. I bring it down just 1.28 dBs because in my output I do some more de-essing, and yeah, so that's my de-esser. And next we have my first compressor, which is a TubeTech CL1B, and I like this compressor a lot. You don't have to use this compressor. You can use the Waves compressors like the CLA2A or the CLA76. I use the 76 a lot. It works a lot. It works really well for rap vocals. And I set this one with a small ratio 2:1 with the fast attack, and this should be a faster release. Fast attack and faster release, and that's just to catch those transients that come through. And if you don't know what a transient is, basically it's just like a loud portion of a vocal, like the peaks, the spikes in the waveforms. Like you can see, that's transient right there. And I just set the threshold so it takes off just a few dBs.
Do you think we could go for a drive? I got a rubber to spare and fuck on the way there, but the fuck on my hair.
So it's not really hitting that hard, maybe just 1 dB at the most. And that's my first compressor. And after that, I add in the CLA 2A. This should not be there. I add in the CLA 2A, which is my second compressor, and this I hit it a little bit harder.
Need someone to talk to, bitch, get a shrink complicated for a reason, use your brain. The fuck do you think we could go for a drive? I got a rubber to spare and fuck on the way there, but the fuck on my hair. Take you shopping, spending my money, bitch, better save it. Even God had Eve walking around.
So I hit that about -5 dBs, and you drag the peak reduction down to see your gain reduction, and then you set your gain to however much you want. And let's hear how it sounds in the mix a little bit.
Do you need someone to talk to? Bitch, get a shrink complicated for a reason, use your brain. The fuck do you think we could go for a drive? I got a rubber to spare and fuck on the way there, but the fuck on my hair.
So it sounded pretty good, but it's still pretty dry and doesn't have that many effects on it. And so next I add in my parallel compression, and I'll try to explain it as best as I can. So basically, you send it to a bus by clicking this thing, going to bus, and send it to one of the buses, and then you drag this up to 0, and then when you create a bus, you send it to a bus, it'll create another channel strip at the bottom, and I like to name this one parallel because this is my parallel compressor. And then basically what I do is I add in a CLA 76 with an L2 limiter, and this is where you hit it as hard as you want, because in parallel compression, basically you're creating a duplicate copy of the track, compressing the fuck out of it, and then just lowering the volume down so it mixes in well.
Do you need someone to talk to? Bitch, get a shrink complicated for a reason, use your brain. The fuck do you think we could go for a drive? I got a rubber to spare.
So basically, I set this with a medium attack, fast release, and then I set the input so it's just crushing it by like 10 dBs.
Spare and fuck on the way there.
And then, so once you set up that, you grab your L2 limiter, L1 limiter, doesn't matter, and I bring down the threshold and the output ceiling. And what this basically does is it basically squashes the rap vocal track, so everything is the same volume. So you want everything to be heard in the context of the mix, every word and everything. And then once you set that up, this is a must. You need to turn your volume slider down based upon however much parallel compression you want. So I usually start up here at 0. And it's gonna sound pretty squashed.
You need someone to talk to, bitch, get a shrink complicated for a reason, use your brain. The fuck do you think
so obviously that's too squashed, so you grab the slider and you drag it down until it sounds good to you.
We could go for a drive, I got a rubber to spare and fuck on the way there, but the fuck on my hair. Take you shopping, spending my money, bitch, better save it. Even God had Eve walking around.
So I think I had it at 25.5 around there, and that's good in the context of the mix. Let's make sure it sounds good.
Do you need someone to talk to? Bitch, get a shrink complicated for a reason, use your brain. The fuck do you think we could go for a drive? I got a rubber to spare and fuck on the way there, but the fuck on my hair. Take you shopping, spending my money, bitch, better save it. Even God had Eve walking around naked. Get on your knees or both hands around my dick like you're praying, for heaven's sake.
So I hope you heard that A and B. I'm gonna do it again without the ad-libs. This is before.
God had Eve walking around naked. Get on your God had Eve walking around naked. Get on your God, both hands around my dick like you pray. God had Eve walking around naked. Get on your knees or both hands around my dick like you.
After.
God had Eve walking around naked. Get on your knees or both.
It's very subtle, but it adds some extra emphasis on all the words and just brings up the overall character of the vocals.